Payton Kruse. During a Just for Laughs gala in 2004, Mitch Hedberg, a stand-up comedian, said, "If you're trying to fall asleep, count sheep. Don't count endangered animals, you will run out." But animal extinction is no laughing matter. We all have a favorite animal, one that interests us, or one that we like to hunt. Now imagine if that animal was no longer here in 10 years. You may be upset, but you wouldn't worry too much about it. We are all unaware of what a missing animal can cause to an ecosystem and the environment. Some of us are even unaware that the government has added an act to protect those organisms. The Endangered Species Act was a smart and effective act passed by the U.S. government in 1973. The Endangered Species Act was effective, first, by what the act does, second, by the improvement it has made to organisms' populations, and third, how it has preserved ecosystems. Before we can learn how it has preserved and saved organisms, we need to know what the act actually is. The Endangered Species Act is an act that protects and watches over organisms and their ecosystems that appear on the Endangered Species and Threatened list. The two organizations that work underneath the Endangered Species Act are the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and the National Marine Fishery. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service watches over all the land animals, while the National Marine Fishery Service watches over all the water organisms. There are three different types of species that these organizations watch over: the U.S., foreign, and candidate species. U.S. species are species that are found here in the U.S. Some examples of these are the whooping crane, the California tiger salamander, and the northern apple meadow falcon. An example of foreign species are the species that are found in different countries. Some examples of these are leopards, gibbons, and green turtles. Candidate species are the species that may be found or may become or are in danger of becoming threatened or endangered. According to a document posted on October 17, 2016 by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service on the Daily Journal of the United States Government, the Jamaican kite swallowtail and helmeted parakeet have recently been added to the candidate list. There are two different ways that an animal may be added to the candidate list. First, if a biologist assesses their growth and decline and sees that they need help. The second is if the public petitions for the species to be added to a list. Now that we know what the act is, we can see how it has improved populations. The Endangered Species Act has done a lot to improve the populations of some organisms. The grizzly bear was removed from the endangered species list in 2007. The bear still remains threatened today, but populations have begun to grow in some areas. According to the Federal Registry, Volume 81, Number 173, posted on September 7, 2016, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service has petitioned for the grizzly bear to be taken off the threatened list in the Yellowstone National Park area. The grizzly bear reached an all-time low during the 1970s and was immediately added to the endangered species list when it was created. Since the bear has been removed from the endangered species list, conservationists have feared that the bear will be put back in danger due to overhunting. Another species that has improved because of the act is the bald eagle. The bald eagle was almost killed off completely by the insecticide DDT used in the farming industry in the 1960s. DDT caused the eggs to become brittle and easily broken. According to a fact sheet posted by the National Pesticide Information Center in 1999, DDT insecticide is an organochlorine that was first synthesized in 1874. When eaten, DDT can be moderately toxic to birds and highly toxic to aquatic animals and fish. Because of these reasons, DDT had been banned by the U.S. government in 1972. Since DDT has been banned, the breeding pairs of bald eagles have jumped from 417 to now 10,000 pairs. Now that we have seen how some organisms have been improved, now we're going to see what could have happened to their ecosystems. The Endangered Species Act has preserved ecosystems and the animals in them. An ecosystem is the complex of a community of organisms and its environment as an ecological unit. An example of a disaster that could have happened if the lions were not. An example of an ecosystem disaster is the lions in Africa. The lions belong to an ecosystem in the Sahara part of Africa. According to its article, Loss of Top Animal Predators Has Massive Ecological Effects, posted on July 14, 2011, by the Stony Brook University, lions have been overhunted. Since the loss of lions, baboons' populations have skyrocketed. Since there's more baboons, more vegetation has been eaten. Since there's less vegetation, baboons had to venture elsewhere to find food. They began to wander into crowded cities and villages nearby. With the new interaction between baboons and humans, diseases began to spread back and forth. Just by the loss of one organism, there was the overpopulation of one and depletion of another. The Endangered Species Act is here to prevent that. In conclusion, the Endangered Species Act was an effective act passed by the U.S. government. The act is effective first by what it does, second by how it has preserved populations, and third, how it has saved ecosystems. Maybe there will be a day when we can count whooping cranes or gibbons when falling asleep instead of sheep.